the Sahara in North Africa. Much is smuggled here: food, cigarettes, fuel, but also cocaine, gold, weapons, and people.
People are dying out there. Bad water, bad food, bad economy.
The most important migration route from West Africa to Europe runs through here. Every year, tens of thousands of migrants cross the desert from Niger via Libya to the Mediterranean.
All my hope to this trip is to go and make a change to my own family.
The EU is growing ever more concerned with this migration pathway. That's why this region has increasingly become the focus of European migration policy. The desert zone is highly inaccessible, geographically isolated, without much government presence. Here, bandits, militias, and human traffickers are in charge.
That day I arrived, that night of that day, 3 people died. These people are so heartless. They don't even do normal burial for someone that died. They will use one blanket to wrap the person and go throw them in the desert.
The EU and its member states are channeling billions of euros into this region for a battle against migrants on the backs of pickup trucks in the midst of the deadliest journey of their lives. The number of arrivals in the EU via the central Mediterranean route has fallen from nearly 160,000 people in 2023 to around 66,000 in 2025. European Union migration policy aims to halt these people on their way to the Mediterranean and prevent them from reaching the bloc's outer borders, a strategy called border externalization. Most of the migrants come from sub-Saharan Africa. To reach Europe from Libya or Tunisia, they must first cross the desert. The Niger-Libya corridor is the primary route through this barren landscape. One city is specifically relevant for these aims: Agadez, where people gather from all over West Africa to cross the Sahara. We want to know what the journey has in store for them. In Agadez, migrants wait in crowded compounds until the smugglers have enough people for a trip through the Sahara. A large part of them come from neighboring Nigeria. The nation is rich in oil, but poor in opportunities. In global corruption rankings, Nigeria has languished in the bottom third for years. Many young, well-educated people are quitting their homeland due to a lack of prospects.
I swear that all the resources, we still have a problem.
Christian and David have been waiting here for a week.
I wonder how some people have family, have 6, 7 children, 8 children, survive. I don't understand. Sometimes I used to wonder, is it a miracle? It's horrible.
You vanish all your money.
Yes.
That's the condition we find ourselves in. So we don't have any choice.
I'm making you just do some kind of risk just because of good life. And it's not necessary.
So we don't have any choice. So
the way I see this thing, I can't take it anymore. I just to leave Nigeria is no option.
Migrants head to Europe via various routes, but primarily through the central Mediterranean, from Tunisia and Libya to Italy. The European Border and Coast Guard agency Frontex says that in 2025, around a third of the 178,000 irregular border crossings took place on this pathway.
So today is a big day. We leave for Agadez at 4 o'clock.
Since the military coup in 2023, it's been difficult for international media to access Niger. That's why Adum has joined our team and is filming along the way.
Well, the plan was to travel with migrants and go to Libya to show their journeys, how things unfold.
The first stage of the journey to Libya is on the main road. But there are bandits about, a potential source of danger. As the group ventures deeper into the desert, they will transfer to concealed smuggling trails. It's a way of avoiding army checkpoints. The plan is to cross the border unnoticed through a minefield.
Dust enter my nose. A lot of dust on the road. We are in Sahara, it's so easy. Anybody that tells that easy says, come on, it's not easy, my brother.
Transporting migrants to Libya has been legal in Niger since late 2023. Before that, the picture was very different. Niger is dependent on foreign aid. Up to 40% of the national budget is financed by development funds from Europe and other donor nations. In 2015, the EU tied this aid to stricter migration management. The Nigerian government then enacted an anti-smuggling law, thereby criminalizing the transport of migrants in the direction of Libya. The UN Agency for Migration IOM logged 300,000 travelers at its checkpoints in 2016. 1 year later, that figure was just 33,000. President of the European Parliament Antonio Tajani boasted of a 95% reduction in just 2 years. But in Agadez, the migration business is a crucial economic sector that wasn't just going to disappear. There simply aren't that many other ways to make a living here. Many drivers went underground, operating at night and alone, taking hidden smuggling routes and avoiding the checkpoints. This meant they could stay under the radar and uncounted in the official statistics. In 2023, the situation changed yet again. After the military coup, the junta abolished the law and decriminalized people smuggling. That's why our group can cover most of the route on official roads. There's no need to use the clandestine smugglers' routes, which would be even more dangerous. A flat tire there could mean no hope of rescue. Passengers could die of thirst. The United Nations document when, where, and how many people disappear or perish when crossing the Sahara. The agency is aware of more than 6,500 dead or missing since 2014. But the actual figure could be 10 times higher. The Sahara is immense, more than double the size of the EU. The state often holds no sway here. The group realizes this as it passes through. Soldiers demand bribes at every checkpoint. You don't pay, you don't pass.
They're collecting money from us, fine. But
Why not them tie the road for their own citizens? Their government have to make the road to be comfortable to their own citizens. Their own citizens. It is not for us.
It's illegal, John. So how do you expect them to pay the road?
Why they are?
You don't understand the meaning of illegal. You know, after that airport road.
In the eyes of the law, the group isn't illegal yet, because neighboring Nigerians can move around freely in Niger. But traveling on to Libya without a visa is a crime.
This is strong.
No break, inshallah.
Once a week, around 100 pickup trucks set off together, headed for remote oases. The army accompanies the convoy to deter bandit attacks. For safety reasons, our group wants to travel with it. They drive to the meeting point. The next convoy sets off in 4 days. The group must wait.
If I check other places, other continents, other countries, they are living more than we in Africa. While we have golds, we have diamond, we have mineral resources, but I don't know why we're getting so hard to get that. Drinking salty water in my own country, my own continent, Africa. I don't know why it's so difficult to Africa to just give your own citizens good life, even the good water. I don't know why it's so difficult. The life we are seeing in Nigeria is not the kind of life we deserve. Where I see my people living is sometimes it puts tears on my eye. Sometimes I feel so pity when I see what we can do, but because of poor system, you can't do it. So that's why I make up my mind to move on this trip. If I can change a lot of things to my people, even if I cannot change the whole country, but if at least for my siblings, my mother, my father, my people around me, at least see a good life. That's why I'm here. We are sleeping here 4 days. Well, we are very happy that we are here and we are waiting for convoys, and thank God today.
The journey continues further into the desert. Here, those with the fastest cars and the biggest guns make the rules. And wherever there's a lack of state security presence, rebels and bandits call the shots. They steal anything of value: satellite phones, cash, and vehicles. Victims are just left in the desert to fend for themselves. After the Ashgur oasis, the group separates from the convoy and takes a more northern route, headed for Segadin.
We left the convoy and took a different route, a shortcut to Segadin.
There aren't as many bandits here, and the people smugglers' cars form a group large enough to help each other.
Your brother sits here next to you. The two of you sit squashed together, hoping you don't fall out. Because if he falls, you're right behind him, as though you're stuck together. And the drivers are mad. They drive like crazy. The drivers take our money and say we're going to the right place. But you can't say that. We're suffering. That's the truth.
Sagadin marks the start of the most dangerous phase of the journey. Adoum and the group are now traveling on remote smugglers' trails.
We were traveling without lights so that we wouldn't be attacked. And then suddenly they were standing in front of us, the bandits. They yelled, "Come on, get out, everyone get out." They took the driver out and asked, "Where's the satellite phone?" And then they hit him with a stick. And then they got us all out, shouting, "Dogs." They insulted us. Then they told us to take everything out, everything we had with us. I had my camera and satellite phone. And they took it all away. We were afraid, really afraid. We thought it was over, that our lives were about to end. They left us with nothing but a 25-liter canister of water for 28 people. We walked for a bit. Then after about 2 kilometers, we stopped and a truck pulled up. They took us with them, luckily.
Adoum and the group cross the border into Libya. Adoum turns back here, while the migrants travel on to Al-Qatroun and Sabha. Libya has been divided since the civil war. The northwest is controlled by the Western-backed government in Tripoli, while the south and east are ruled by the warlord Khalifa Haftar. His military government oversees various militias that control the south. These militias see themselves as legitimate security forces ensuring peace and security and working to reduce migration. Under this pretext, they operate migrant detention camps.
It was last year that I was kidnapped.
They were just threatening us and beating us.
Nasha and Fargo are both from Nigeria. On their journey through the desert to the Mediterranean, they were attacked by human traffickers. Their reports are difficult to verify, but many migrants tell similar stories that also align with the findings of the UN and human rights organizations.
The police and the soldiers, the ones on the roadside, stopping and checking motors, they are the ones who used to catch them in the name of documents, passports. And instead of taking them to a detention center, they will go and hijack all the passengers.
Some militias sell the migrants on.
I arrived in the ghetto in Sova. They will say, Ghana people this side, Nigerian people this side. They will shoot someone's leg. To put fear, to create fear in us. During the day they will be flogging you, while doing a video call to your family. The family will see how they are beating the person. To put fear in the family, that they will sell whatever precious item they have, to bail their son out. Your payment is 8,000 dinars or 10,000 dinars.
The ransom amounts vary depending on nationality. Human traffickers demand significantly higher sums from some nationalities than from others.
The worst part is, even if you don't have money, they won't leave you. Every day they'll torture, beat. So that's why so many people die. More than 7 people I saw die there. These people are so heartless, they don't even do normal burial for someone that died. They will use one blanket to wrap the person and go throw them in the desert.
So, I didn't know that Sova is risky. That I can't just walk anyhow. So that's why I was jumped by those two boys. They took me to a very big house. When I'm there, they said I should take off my clothes. I started shouting, crying, begging. But there's nobody that can rescue me. They forced me into it. It was very painful, but I had no choice. I started crying.
Many female migrants in Libya report sexual violence, rape, and sexual exploitation by smugglers, armed groups, or guards.
It happened every day, by day. There can come like 25 to 30 clients a day. There are many girls. They will be choosing. It's 250 dinars. They make a lot of money. A lot. Because they do this to many girls, not only me. Many girls. I don't know where they are kidnapping that many girls.
Most of the migrants detained in Libya are held in unofficial camps like these, controlled by militias or smugglers. At the Government of National Unity operating from Tripoli in the west, there's still an actual migration authority running its own detention camps. A deportation to Nigeria is currently underway.
You can call me Happy.
Happy doesn't want to give his real name. He's got serious debts back in Nigeria. His creditors aren't yet aware of his imminent return.
I was caught in the sea going to Italy. Unfortunately, they owned me in the sea and took me to the prison. And I have been suffering since then until this deportation.
Happy spent around 4 months at this detention facility. The Tariq al-Sika camp is notorious for its inhumane conditions.
They treat us like nothing. I don't have anything to say because I'm black. So they treat us the way they want.
A United Nations fact-finding mission documented substantial evidence of the systematic torture of detainees. Just as in the unofficial camps, there are also reports of rapes and ransom demands here. Despite documented human rights violations, the EU supports Libyan migration and security authorities with money, training, and equipment.
The embassy came and asked if you want to go or you want to stay. I told them that I want to go, because I have nobody to move me from the prison. If I told them that I did not want to go, I would suffer here for a long time in the prison. So I have no choice, I have nobody.
Original one. Yes, original. Go.
Officially, the EU refers to these deportations as voluntary returns. However, many migrants decide to leave under pressure from detention, violence, and a lack of prospects. The alternative is to remain at the camp indefinitely, behind bars and in grim conditions. The EU is aware of the problems. In Tunisia, the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, explains the thinking behind the migration partnerships.
It is horrible to see how they deliberately risk human lives for profit. The objective is to have a holistic approach to migration policy rooted in the respect for human rights.
The EU has invested billions of euros in measures to reduce irregular migration in Africa through various funds, with several hundred million going to Libya. In the south, local security forces are being equipped with border surveillance equipment to halt migration at an earlier stage. According to media reports, Italian authorities even attempted to integrate rival militias into a joint border force. Human rights organizations take a dim view of the EU's funding of the Libyan Coast Guard. The bloc says this is the only way to prevent drownings, but the migrants are simply brought back to Libya, placing them once again at the mercy of the militias. Only those who have survived the smugglers, human traffickers, and torturers, and who have not been imprisoned or deported reach the Mediterranean. Then, those who make the crossing face a whole new set of challenges. David and Christian's group has disbanded.
How is your life right now? How are you doing?
I'm feeling a little better. I'm coping okay. Like you can see my friends. Yeah. They are preferring Ghana food. Some of us, they have brother here. Some of us, they have father. Like David have father. So everybody moves.
Let me show you. This is where we work. Like, this is our workshop. This is the workshop where my father works. Anywhere better than here. I don't have any choice. So, anywhere better than here. Like, no one to relate with, no friends, because you cannot trust anybody. So, I don't like people, but I don't have any choice. So, I have to stay.
The journey through the Sahara could well be the deadliest in the world. Nevertheless, it's one many people still undertake.
I will not advise any of my friends to come to this journey. I will tell them not to embark because they will regret it. I will not allow them.